Thank you all for joining us here tonight from the Joy Center. Ronnie and I are here at the Joy Center, and many of you that are watching have probably been to the Joy Center and know this place very well, but some of you might not have been able to have the pleasure of being here. Helen has created sort of this oasis of art in the middle of the woods in West Ishpeming. If you've never had a chance to come here for any kind of an event, I really encourage you when, you know, the craziness of the pandemic sort of lessens and we are able to join and gather together again, to come to the Joy Center and experience its beauty, experience the peace that you feel when you walk in this door and take a deep breath, and just know that the spirit of Helen, all of her energy, all of her joy is in this place. And you know, she embraces everything, art, poetry, music here. And Ronnie and I are really excited to be here tonight to share some poetry and music with you for National Poetry Month. Whitman and the Skunk. I see you on the shore of Superior, water curling around your blue feet, in your arms pressed into the capacious swirls of your gray beard, a skunk, cradled like a wounded soldier. The creature, black whole body shot with nova light, trusts you, knows that you contain cannon fire and lilac, armies of geese in winter retreat, salmon sun leaping into dawn, yawn of dusk in oak bough. You contain it all, shin deep in this Arctic sea, smell of you mixing with the smell of him. God, you're both so beautiful and electric in your love and need. Bigfoot takes his wife to Mount Rushmore for their honeymoon. Roosevelt watches as they come together on Lincoln's hair, become an avalanche of finger, tongue, arm, leg. They make buffalo noises, passenger pigeon noises that haven't been heard since before McKinley became extinct in New York. Under Roosevelt's granite gaze, the Bigfoots do what they have been doing for hundreds of years. When Washington's teeth weren't wood, when the quills Jefferson wrote, "We hold these truths," with, "We're still helping ducks and geese wing south." They bite neck, shoulder, paw, and plow fields of thigh. Let high, star-spangled banner sounds spill under the milkweed stars. Wild for fur, skin, they earthquake into each other, unite their states without constitution or Congress. No walls or borders stop them. Their guiding torch, the tug and pull of tempest-tossed heart. They are spacious sky, amber wave, beautiful pilgrim feet, and below them, the stone faces stare into the distance, the way bachelor uncles and maiden aunts do at wedding receptions, embarrassed by the sway and grind of that first slow dance. pig's orgasm lasts 30 minutes. A pig's orgasm lasts 30 minutes. This from a pig farmer who hasn't slept in 2 weeks. His wife left him. His children, one by one, have disappeared, leaving notes on the kitchen table. I am tired of so much pleasure. Now that he is alone, some nights, the pig farmer stumbles into the barn to watch the swine orgy, listen to their sweaty foreplay, satisfied thrusting grunts. And then, after several minutes, the moment arrives. Long and loud as an air raid siren, it goes on and on and on and on, makes the cows in their stalls look up with envy. The mares in the corral nicker, tremble in want. And the pig farmer sits in the manure pile, wonders if his wife still wears her wedding ring. Lady Bigfoot kept him in her cave. For some, the flash of deer tail in the woods, rabbit shadow in moss and moon, that small, that fast, that fleeting. It's the silver tongue of frost on grass, hungry for sun. And when sun comes, there is an instant of abandon, chimerical, ice and light and mist at once, then a field of green tears. Few know love so large it eclipses bird and brook, wind and forest, reef and ocean. Love with granite arms and bare breath that swallows you like blueberries, big, round, and sweet. See it, tall and wide as redwoods. Hear it, a wild howl, half human, half wolf. A universe of limb and muscle, the fierce gravity of lip, shoulder, and breast. That is the love he knows, ravenous. Every day it takes hold, leads him through the cave, through blackness, so black he loses skin, that organ of form and touch, of ecstasy. Surrender is an ant and grub, fern and apple, cloud and rain, all of it. Bigfoot's Heart, for my friend Lee LaForge. How do you measure it? A love as big as Kong, hungry for fay rays, sparrow breasts, and silent movie eyes. Her screams that dig into feral chambers of his ape chest, take root, blossom on that island of bones. Or Karloff staring through lizard lids, his bride full of lightning and terror, her soft moans stirring his anvil of blood. while outside peasants howl. Follow footprints on the shores of Gitchigumi, prehistoric leaps in the sucking sands. Listen for the roars of all the brokenhearted as tide creeps to your ankles. Count the waves, their hisses filling night with breath and tongue and kisses. Butterflies taste with their feet. Butterflies taste with their feet, nibble the world with each step, flit like debutantes from one cotillion to another. They don't glut or gorge. They're dainty in their waltzes, summer dresses. I loved a butterfly once. Took her to movies where she nestled on my buttery fingers as I ate popcorn. Brought her home for Thanksgiving. My mother smiled, said she had a good appetite, landing on the white meat, dark meat, canned cranberry, stovetop pumpkin pie. Ours was a romance for the ages. Romeo and Juliet, Jane Eyre in Rochester, Shakespeare and his Dark Lady, me and my butterfly. Her wings the color of carrot and saffron. I still dream of our time together, how she would crawl over my body, taste my skin. At rosy-fingered dawn, I would find myself blossoming, bursting open, unfolding my petals toward the long light of day. My pillow still smells of pollen. Spring choirs. Spring crickets and peepers were loud as interstate traffic tonight, calling and singing to each other under gauzed light. I turned off the living room lights, shut the windows, put my lunch in the fridge for tomorrow's work, then went out my front door. Stood barefoot in the grass, listened to the choirs of insect and amphibian, with an occasional dog tenor or baritone. The universe at that moment, that instant, seemed all right, as if nothing could be wrong anywhere in its vast concert hall. No discord of plague or war, no disharmonies of famine or hatred, just wet grass and mud under my toes, dark fingers of lilac branches reaching up to the starry, starry keyboard of night, and the crickets and peepers serenading moon and comets and cosmic dust. Try it now. Slow everything down to the lifespan of a cricket until one breath is a minute, hour, day, month, year, decade, century, generation, era, epoch, until that breath spills out like a woodwind in an orchestra, playing one true, clear note into the ear of the universe. Again, I want to thank Ronnie, my friend Ronnie, who composed all of this music. It's all original music that he composed to go along with these poems. And in the near future, we're going to be releasing an album of these poems, hopefully in the summer, called Slow Dancing with Bigfoot. And hopefully by that time, we'll be able to gather in person a little bit and right here at the Joy Center, so you can come and experience this place. And feel the spirit that Helen has really just invested in this whole building. So we look forward to being able to come together with you and do this again, hopefully soon. Bigfoot tries to fix his daughter's broken heart. Since he only knows how to pray with fingers thick as squirrels, he fills her cave with spider webs, traps her sobs, cocoons them, takes them down to the lake to drown. Since the ground is still too frozen to dig a grave, since he wants to remind her that she's alive, he takes her to the valley where she was born, where he sucked birth from her body in great, salty gulps. Since love isn't a porcupine he can crush with a rock, since she feels abandoned, he gives her ribs of a deer bleached by winter sun to hug herself. They splinter after one day, become dander and crumb. Since love's eyes don't glow green in moonlight, since she feels unimportant, he brings a skunk to her, places it on her head like a crown. Since love doesn't blossom like mushrooms and mud and rot, moves faster than flea, lice, shadow. Since he doesn't know the word love, he paints her face with clay, tenderly, with his tongue. Since she won't eat, he collects fistfuls of spring peepers, scoops them between her lips. They sing in her mouth. Since love is big and small, the sepaled flesh of his heart, an apple seed. Catfish have 27,000 taste buds. Catfish have 27,000 taste buds, but spend their lives at rock bottom of river, creek, marsh, with no ambition to rise. Instead, they comb their whiskers with clay, know the flavor of each intimate piece of universe that enters their bodies. They are algae, crawfish, caddisfly, frog, clam, blueberry. Munch up and down the food chain, frequent greasy spoons and Michelin stars. A catfish once ate an eagle feather, dreamed of clouds, sky for weeks. Another swallowed a used condom, felt guilty for cheating on his wife. Cut a catfish open, you might find car keys you lost last Friday, or your sister who died of lymphoma 5 years ago. Dinosaurs or ice ages, dark matter or Da Vinci. One catfish contains multitudes, can feed 5,000 with 15 baskets left over for breakfast. Nietzsche said, God is dead. He isn't. He's inside a catfish belly, playing pinochle, waiting to be caught, filleted, breaded, fried into rapture with grits. Slow dancing with Bigfoot in Greenwich. This has been Bigfoot's stool even before he grunted, handed Marcia P. that brick when the Betty Badges pounded on the door, shouted, police were taking the place the night Judy was buried. Now he nurses slow gins, listens to Piped In Over the Rainbow, enjoys its tongue-in-cheekness, homage to friends left behind. Vinny the Cheek, black-haired and beautiful, who used to call him Honey, scratch his shoulders with cattail fingers. Angel from the Bronx in fishnets, heels, baked him brownies, told him over and over how the carpet of his arms reminded Angel of his grandfather in Puerto Rico. Montana Bill, quiet as a cow, sat beside Bigfoot, inhaled his fishy cologne, ate pretzels, cried about the way his dad's denim jacket smelled like horse and coffee in the mornings. So many more. So many. Lost in the Reagan years, now just forgotten patches on an immense blanket. Bigfoot is at home here. Nobody stares at the taxi of his back, piles of peanut shells and his beard on the mountain of his belly. He doesn't have to hide in the bathroom, stare through windows on the limb between Homo sapien and erectus, evolution and myth. He sits at the bar, among reflections in mirror, in bottles, dozens of Bigfoots, spinning, swimming, shimmering. Every once in a while, someone buys him a drink, asks him to dance, walks him to the dim floor, rests a head against his leathery breast, sways to George Michael, Etta James, Careless Whisper, or At Last. Slow, always slow songs. Ignorance is kind. There's no comfort in the truth. After the music ends, His partner will lean in, press lips to his cheek, thank him for the dance, for being who he is, king of the forest, arm and arm with Dorothy, lumbering toward the Emerald City. Starfish have no brains. Starfish have no brains, so they can't assemble pieces to create a whole picture. They live on image and instant. Emerald sea, first kiss, coral, parrotfish and salt, long embraces, arm in arm in arm in arm in arm. Moonlit beach, tide, bark of seal, coming together, collision of heavenly bodies, seagull shriek, crab scuttle, separation, moan of whale under black skies, emptiness. If the starfish had a brain, he would throw himself into barracuda jaw, cormorant beak, allow himself to bake in the sun. Instead, he just counts waves. One wave, one wave, one wave, one wave, never getting to two. Elephants are the only animals that cannot jump, or an elephant leap of faith. Elephants are the only animals that cannot jump, perhaps for the same reason they cannot fly, the weight of bone. They lumber place to place, heads down, think of all things they cannot do. They cannot play leapfrog, celebrate leap year, despise the TV show Quantum Leap and Little Orphan Annie with her leapin' lizards, envy salmon their upstream leaps, have never looked before they leapt or leapt to a conclusion. When Armstrong took his one small step, one giant leap, they made their way to a graveyard, stood among ribs of grandparents, aunts, uncles, raised their trunks to the tusk of moon, bellowed against the gravity of their existence, forever bound by toe and foot to mud, clay, clods of dirt. At night, in their grief they shudder, snore, dream of feathers, ibis, kingfisher, feel a divine nudge to take one deep, elephantine breath, start to walk, then lope, gallop, charge, ears scooping, tails ruddering, faster, 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 until it happens. Wind takes over, and they lift, rise, keep rising, great gray kites. They swoop, dip, circle, up and up, to Aegean blue and light and sun, like an exultation of larks winging south. They grow small, smaller, smallest, vanish into a parade of ivory clouds. Bigfoot gives thanks. After Gerard Manley Hopkins. He doesn't chase down a turkey, wring its pink neck like a dish rag, gut it with his thumb, cook it in sun and fly and maggot for days, serve it with sides of chewed yam, moose marrow, fermented pumpkin guts, green with thyme, smelling strong as a bear den at winter's end. He doesn't smooth his hair with mud, brush his teeth with fresh milkweed, cram himself into a church pew beside blue-haired widows who look at his gorilla arms and long to feel their dead husbands' dark embraces in bed at night again. Doesn't stand when the organ starts breathing music, raise the siren of his voice to "Now thank we all our God," until the stained glass rattles and fractures, letting seams of pure white stitch all gathered with the shook foil of the world. No, his way is simpler. A morning glory leaning toward day, unfolding, shaking off the teary dew of darkness. Stand outside at dawn or dusk. The bent world is charged with his hairy gratitude. In the long-legged shadows of first and last light, as they stretch and stretch and stretch down the street, across railroad trestle, through hay fields, cornfields, into pines and poplar, further and further and further, mountain, swamp and lake, canyon and cave, ocean, glacier, savanna, desert, until at last they have touched it all the grandeur of deep down things. Before I read our last poem for tonight, again, my friend Ronnie, amazing musician, amazing friend, thank you. And thanks to Helen for allowing us in her Joy Center and sharing her joy with us and with all of you out there. So, happy National Poetry Month. And I hope to see you sometime soon at the Joy Center. Doe after a blizzard. My son noticed her first, splayed, bloody, broken by a neighbor's fence. A dead doe, shining in the sunlight that always comes after a blizzard. Sunlight so strong it hurts to step into it. Sunlight that shouts. The doe was haloed in that light. And my son, only 5, said, "Fix it, Daddy." Reduced me to an Easter Island carving. Stone face immutable in the presence of suffering. I wanted to tell my son, I can't, or she's gone, or she's with God, or some other emptiness recited in church every Sunday so often that it has lost its ability to comfort. Instead, I picked my son up, carried him closer to the doe, whispered in his ear, "Isn't she beautiful?" I watched his face change. Confusion give way to something seraphic. "Yes," he said, nodding. "Yes, she is. Yes, 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 yes." Thank you for joining us tonight for National Poetry Month and this celebration of music and poetry with Marty Achatz and my friend Ronnie Ferguson. And again, thanks to Helen and the Joy Center. Please, 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 when you get a chance, come and visit.
Thank you.
Thank you.